Hello friends, welcome to the BPSC junction. Let's start with the chapter number 3, that is agriculture. Gurpreet, Madhu and Tina were walking through a village where they saw a farmer tilling land. The farmer told them that he was growing wheat and had just added manure to the soil to make it more fertile. He told the children that the wheat would fetch a good price in the mandi from where it would be taken to factories to make bread and biscuits from flour. This information from a plant to be finished product involves three types of economic activity. These are primary, secondary, and tertiary activities. Primary activities include all those connected with extraction and production of natural resources. Agriculture, fishing, and gathering are the good examples. Secondary activities are concerned with the processing of these resources. Manufacturing of steel, baking of bread, and weaving of cloth are examples of this activity. Tertiary activities provide support to primary and secondary activity through services. Transport, trade, banking, insurance, and advertising are examples of tertiary activity. Word origin. The word agriculture is derived from the Latin word ager or agri meaning soil, or culture meaning cultivation. Agriculture is a primary activity, includes growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and rearing of livestock. In the world, 50% of the persons are engaged in the agriculture activity. Two-thirds of India's population is still dependent on agriculture. Favorable topography of soil and climate are vital for agriculture activity. The land on which the crops are grown is known as arable land. In the map, you can see that the agriculture activity is concentrated in those regions of the world where suitable factors for growing crops exist. Do you know agriculture, sericulture, pisciculture, viticulture, and horticulture? Agriculture, the science and art of cultivation on the soil, raising the crops, and rearing livestock, is called farming. Sericulture, commercial rearing of silkworm. It may supplement the income of farmer. Pisciculture, breeding of fish in specially constructed tanks and ponds. Viticulture, cultivation of grapes. Horticulture, growing vegetables, flowers, fruit for commercial use. Farm system, agriculture or farming can be looked at as a system. The important inputs are seeds, fertilizers, machinery, and labor. Some of the operations involved are plugging, sowing, irrigation, weeding, and harvesting. The outputs from the system includes crop, wool, dairy, and poultry products. Types of farming. Farming is practiced in various ways across the world depending upon the geographical condition, demand of produce, labor, and level of technology. Farming can be classified into two main types. These are subsistence farming and commercial farming. Subsistence farming. This type of farming is practiced to meet the needs of farmers' family. Traditionally, the low level of technology and household labor are used to produce on a small output. Subsistence farming can further classified as intensive subsistence and primitive subsistence farming. In intensive subsistence agriculture, the farmer cultivates a small plot of land using simple tools, and sunshine and fertile soil permits growing of more than one crop annually on the same plot. Rice is the main crop. Other crops include wheat, maize, pulses, and oilseeds. Intensive subsistence agriculture is prevalent in the quickly populated areas of monsoon regions of South and Southeast and East Asia. Interesting facts. Organic farming. In this type of farming, organic manure and natural pesticides are used instead of chemicals. No genetic modification is done to increase the yield of crop. Primitive subsistence agriculture includes shifting cultivation and nomadic herding. Shifting cultivation is practiced in the thickly forested areas of Amazon basin, tropical Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, Northeast India. These are the area of heavy rainfall and quick regeneration of vegetation. A plot of land is cleared by felling the trees and burning them. The ashes are then mixed with soil, and crops like maize, yam, potato, and cashew are grown. After the soil loses its fertility, the land is abandoned and the cultivator moves to a new plot. Shifting cultivation is also known as slash and burn agriculture. Do you know shifting cultivation is known by different names in different parts of the world? Zooming, Northeast India; Milpa, Mexico; Central America; Roca, Brazil, Ladang, Malaysia. Nomadic herding is a practice in the semi-arid and arid regions of Sahara, Central Asia, and some of the parts of India like Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir. In this type of farming, herdsmen move from one place to one another with their animals for food and water along defined routes. This type of movement arises in response to climate constant and trend. Sheep, camel, yak, and goats are most commonly reared, and they provide milk, meat, wool, hides, and other products to herder and their family. Commercial farming. In commercial farming, crops are grown and cultivations are reared for sale in the market. The area cultivated and amount of capital used is large. The most of the work is done by machines. Commercial farming includes commercial grain farming, mixed farming, and plantation agriculture. In commercial grain farming, crops are grown in commercial for commercial purpose. Wheat and maize are the common commercially grown crops. Major areas where commercial grain farming is practiced are temperate grasslands of North America, Europe, and Asia. These areas are sparsely populated with large farms spreading over hundreds of hectares. Severe winter restrict the growing season. Only a single crop can be grown. In a mixed farming, the land is used for growing fodder and fodder crops for rearing and livestock. It is practiced in Europe and Eastern USA, Argentina, Southeast Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Plantations are a type of commercial farming where single crop of tea, coffee, sugarcane, cashew, rubber, banana, or cotton are grown. Large amount of labor and capital are required. The produce may be processed on the farm itself or in by nearby factories. The development of transport network is thus essential for such farming. Major plantations are found in the tropical region of the world. Rubber in Malaysia, coffee in Brazil, tea in India and Sri Lanka are some of the examples. Major crops. A large variety of crops are grown to meet the requirement of the growing population. Crops also supply raw materials for agro-based industries. Major food crops are wheat, rice, maize, and millets. Jute and cotton are fiber crops. Important beverage crops are tea and coffee. Rice is a major food crop of the world. It is the stable diet of tropical and subtropical regions of rice. Rice needs high temperature, high humidity, and rainfall. It grows best in alluvial clay soil which can retain water. China leads in the production of rice, followed by India, Japan, Sri Lanka, and Egypt. In favorable climatic conditions, as in West Bengal and Bangladesh, 2 to 3 crops are grown in a year. Wheat requires moderate temperature and rainfall during the growing season and bright sunshine at the time of harvest. It thrives best in well-drained, loamy soil. Wheat is grown extensively in USA, Canada, Argentina, Russia, Ukraine, Australia, and India. In India, it is grown in winter. Millets. They are also known as coarse grains and can be grown on less fertile and sandy soil. It is a hardy crop that needs low rainfall and high to moderate temperature and adequate rainfall. Jowar, bajra, and ragi are grown in India. In other countries are Nigeria, China, and Niger. Maize requires moderate temperature, rainfall, and lots of sunshine. It needs well-drained fertile soil. Maize is grown on North America, Brazil, China, Russia, Canada, India, and Mexico. Do you know maize is also known as corn? Various colorful variety of maize are found across the world. Cotton requires high temperature, light rainfall, 200 and 10 frost-free days and bright sunshine for it grown. It grows best on black and alluvial soil. China, USA, India, Pakistan, Brazil, and Egypt are the leading producers of the cotton. It is one of the main raw materials for the cotton textile industry. Jute are also known as the golden fiber. It grows well on alluvial soil and requires high temperature, heavy rainfall, and humid climate. This crop is grown in tropical areas in India and Bangladesh are the leading producers of jute. Who discovered the coffee plant? There are different versions about the discovery of coffee. In about AD 850, Khaldi, an Arab goat herder who was puzzled by queer antics of his flock, tasted the berries of evergreen bush on which the goat were feeding. On experiencing a sense of exhilaration, he proclaimed his discovery to the world. Coffee. Coffee requires warm and wet climate and well-drained loamy soil. Hill slopes are more suitable for the growth of this crop. Brazil is the leading producer, followed by Colombia and China. Sorry, Brazil the leading producer, followed by Colombia and India. Tea is a beverage crop grown on plantation. This requires cool climate and well-distributed high rainfall throughout the year for the growth of its tender leaves. It needs well-drained loamy soil and gentle slopes. Labor in large number is required to pick the leaves. Kenya, India, China, Sri Lanka produce the best quality tea in the world. Agricultural development. Agriculture development refers to the effort made to increase the farm production in order to meet the growing demand of increasing population. This can be achieved in many ways, such as increasing the cropped area, the number of crop grown, improving the irrigation facility, uses of fertilizers, high yielding variety of seeds, mechanizations of agriculture is also another aspect of agricultural development. The ultimate aim of agriculture development is to increase food security. Agriculture has developed at different places in different parts of the world. Developing countries with a large population usually practice intensive agriculture, where crops are grown on a small holding mostly for subsistence. Large holdings are more suitable for commercial agriculture, as USA, Canada, and Australia. With the help of two case studies of farms, one from India and another from USA, let us understand about the agriculture in developing and developed country. Do you know food security exists when all people at all times have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and the food preferences for an active and healthy life? A farm in India. There is a small village, Adilabad, in Gazipur district of Uttar Pradesh. Munna Lal is a small farmer is in this village who has a farmland of about 1.5 hectare. His house is in his main village. He purchases high yielding varieties of seeds from the market every alternate year. The land is fertile. He grows at least two crops in a year, which are normally wheat or rice and pulses. The farmer takes advice of his friends and elders, as well as government agriculture officers, regarding farming practices. He takes tractor on rent for plugging his field, though some of his friends still use traditional methods of using bullock for plugging. There is a tubewell in the nearby field which he takes rent to irrigate his field. Munna also has two buffaloes and few hens. He sells milk in the cooperative store located in the nearby town. He is a member of cooperative society, which means he also advises him the type of fodder for his animal, safety measures to protect the health of livestock, and artificial insemination. All the members of family help him in the various farm activities. Sometimes he takes credit from the bank on the agricultural cooperative society to buy HYV seeds and implements. He sells his produce in the mandi located in nearby town. Since majority of the farmers do not have lack storage facility, they are forced to sell the produce even when the market is not favorable to them. In recent years, the government has taken some steps to develop cold storage facilities. A farm in the USA. The average size of farm in the USA is much larger than that of Indian farm. The typical farm size in USA is about 250 hectares. The farm generally resides in the farm. The farmer generally resides in the farm. Some of the major crops grown are corn, soybean, wheat, cotton, and sugar beet. Joe Horan, a farmer in the Midwest USA, is in Iowa State, owns about 300 hectares of land. He grows corn on his field after making sure that the soil water resources meet the need of this crop. Adequate measures are taken to control the pests that can damage the crop. From time to time, he sends the soil samples to a soil testing laboratory to check whether the nutrients are sufficient or not. The result helped Joe Holden to plan a scientific fertilizer program. His computer is linked to the satellite, which gives him precise picture of his field. This helps him to use the chemical fertilizers and pesticides wherever they are required. He used tractors, seed drills, levelers, combined harvesters, and threshers to perform various agriculture operations. Grains are stored in the automated grain storage or dispatched to market agency. The farmer in USA works like a businessman, not like a peasant farmer.